What is up guys, David Zhao here, and in this video we're going to talk about how to shoot a music video, things to be aware of, and my experience shooting the music video for Gravity by 3Dimensional. Let's get started. Let's start with the pre-production. If you're shooting a music video for a client, the first thing you're going to want to ask is, what does the client want the music video to say? Is it a visual spectacle used for marketing their song? Is it them adding to the meaning of their music by complementing the song with a video? Really, what does the client want to achieve with this video? In this case, the brothers wanted to make a visually stunning video to really jump back into the music scene since they've been on a hiatus. So, my goal was to make that wish a reality and to help plan the vision for the final product. Now, this step is the hardest step, honestly. You're gonna spend hours talking about different kinds of videos, whether it'll have a storyline, whether it'll have multiple locations that you'll need, rentals, props, more. It would really help if you have someone on the project acting as the producer. In this case, my friend Hannah was filling that role. She was in charge of helping us secure locations by using her contacts and doing a lot of the scouting. Additionally, she helped by coordinating the outfits for the brothers and recruiting extras for the scenes. But the next step is production. We shot at 4 different locations: a large property with some abandoned machinery in a field, an abandoned house on that property, a local hookah bar, and a property in development. At each of these locations, we shot a lot of coverage. We didn't know which shots would turn out the best for each verse and chorus, so we opted to spend a little more time on each location, making sure we had plenty of coverage of the entire song. Now, while I was heavily focused on getting the A-roll of the performances, I brought Andrew on this project to focus on getting B-roll of the performances, cutaway shots, shots of the extras, and anything else he found that was interesting. I learned that it's really useful having a second videographer on set because it lets you, as the DP, to take a step back and let the second videographer shoot, and you can evaluate whether changes need to be made to the location, the lighting, the composition, and that's because it's really easy to get lost in the weeds for making sure the settings are right, the movements are smooth, and it's important to be able to take a moment and take a step back and look at the bigger picture. But on that note, this shot on the chair was completely by accident. We were going to use a different location in the abandoned house, but Andrew found the chair in the corner of that room, propped it up, and we unanimously decided that, yeah, that's gonna be the shot. That looks dope. This really just shows that collaborating and getting creative input from others will really ultimately make the video better. So we touched on coverage. Let's talk more about that. Like I said in How to Make a Travel Video, you want a lot of footage. We knew that we wanted several takes of the entire performance from many angles, so that meant recording a lot of shots on the wide-angle 24mm. Then, when we were comfortable with the amount of coverage we had on that, we threw on the 85mm to get those close-up shots. And then we shot the entire performance several times through. On top of that, while I was doing that, I had Andrew shoot on a variety of focal lengths from wide to tight on different angles of the brothers performing. Additionally, he got shots of the extras, of shoes, of smoke, of really whatever caught his eye that could possibly end up in the music video. But we didn't want the only planned shots that we were shooting to be just of the performances. We wanted some cutaways that would be really visually interesting, so we made sure to also get B-roll outside of the performances. We decided to set up a shot where we got the girls singing along to the song, dancing, and oh, this guy hitting a sick backflip, because it's a music video, so of course. At the end of the 3 shoots, I felt pretty confident with the amount of footage we got, so the next step was post-production. This is where it really all comes together. Without getting too technical, first I used the program Pluralize by Red Giant, a program I use a lot to sync video and audio. Whether it's for my YouTube videos, for weddings to get the sound from the DJ board to sync up with the video clips, or for this case, a music video where we synced the scratch audio from the camera with loud music we were blasting from a speaker on set to the final audio file of the song. Once these tracks were all synced, I simply started going through the timeline and picking from clips that looked good and flowed well until I got a rough cut. From there, I did any visual effects we were planning on having in the music videos via After Effects. Then I added some additional layers to stylize the video, things like light leaks. And finally, saving the most fun and tedious part for last, the color grading. For projects like these, I like to start by using Film Convert to color correct the footage. And as a bonus, I use it to color match the footage from my A7 III to Andrew's footage from his A6500, so that they both look similar. Finally, I'll use Lumetri colors on adjustment layers and dial in the final look I want, especially with their new, very powerful HSL curves. And after a week of back and forth with the client, making creative changes here and there, and several pots of coffee, we had the final product. If you're interested in seeing the full music video, I'd love for you to check it out. There will be a link in the description down below and probably a card up here. Now, here are two things I learned throughout this process that you might want to consider when shooting a music video. First of all, make sure you budget a lot of time for planning. What we thought would be an hour or two meeting turned into a 6-hour-long meeting when we were initially planning for this video. And the funniest part is, we didn't even use anything from that planning session. We actually ended up doing something completely different, and that's okay, because what happened was I woke up the next morning after I slept on the idea, as you should, and I realized that our original plan was just too convoluted, and it required a lot more production assistance, more extras, difficult locations, and a lot of choreography. Instead, we settled on the idea of a performance-heavy song with vibrant visuals. Moral of the story? Be ready to throw out half of your ideas. Even when on set, you might completely change your mind, and that's perfectly okay. That's just the creative process. Second of all, check the weather for the day you're planning on shooting, like on 3 separate apps. What seemed like a perfectly nice overcast day turned into a half-hour-long downpour thunderstorm. Even while it was pouring, while we were in the car, I checked my weather app and it was just like, yep, it's sunny, get your bathing suits. So get a radar app like WeatherBug so you can get slightly better forecasts. Fortunately, the storm passed and we still had enough light to finish our shoot with all the shots that we wanted, but getting rained on was not fun. Moral of the story, keep an eye on the weather, make sure you're prepared to change your plans, be flexible, and even better, show up early, like half an hour or so you can get everything set up, out of the way, and hit the ground running with the shoot. We were doing our shoot around sunset, so we literally used every last minute possible to get our shots. Also, one of the brothers' trucks got stuck in the mud, so that was fun. Oh yeah, I wanted to say a special thank you to my friend and producer on this project, Hannah, for shooting all of the behind the scenes footage for this shoot. This video wouldn't have been possible without her help. She's actually the person who connected me with this client, and she's always working on interesting projects. So if you guys would like to see what she's up to next, check out her Instagram at hannalyn_multimedia. Link to that will also be down in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button. If you'd like to see more of these videos, do subscribe and ring that notification bell to stay on top of when new videos are released. I'd love to hear what you thought of this BTS job shadowing video in the comment section down below. I had a ton of fun making this video to share with you guys, and I'd love to know if you'd want to see more content similar to this. Alright guys, as always, see you in the next one.